Hello and welcome to Pat O'Keefe's World of Curiosities. And we are having our special segment that we do. Well, we were doing it twice a month. Now we're doing it once a month because I'm working on a documentary, and this is a very busy time of the year for Zeea too. We're going into the ghost season. And we have, as always, a special guest. I'm thrilled that she's here. She is a spider master, and I'll let her and Zeea talk about that in more detail. She is a witch, an Appalachian witch, somebody with roots in these mountains. She is also an author and a paranormal researcher. And I'll turn it over to Zeea because she is a very, close and personal friend of Zea's, and she can fill us in on some more details. So, Zeea.
Well, hey, anybody watching, thank you for tuning in to another episode. Yeah, we're glad to have a longtime friend of mine, Amy Greer, here to talk with us. She's very knowledgeable on many subjects when it comes to supernatural, paranormal, witchy subjects. And I've been trying to think of a few things I want to ask her that we could talk about. And if you guys have any questions for her, please ask. But she is an accomplished author. She's co-authored a few books, and we'll ask her about that. And she loves all kinds of critters, and like she said, a spider master. So she's, that's her main fascination right now. Um, and yeah, she's. There's a lot of things we could say about Amy. Hello, person Kelly Brewer. Hello. But yeah, so Amy, I think we've known each other probably like 11 years, I think we were saying.
Yep.
So, but yeah, hey, it's Shiny Star Mystic,
Hi.
good friend of ours as well. So, yeah, 11 years of friendship, it's hard to have a friendship that long unless, really loyal person, that's for me anyway. Somebody
hmm
has to be loyal, and she's really caring. But Amy, what do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the spiders off the bat?
I mean, if you want to.
Yeah. So her, jumping spiders are becoming like a big thing. Like people are keeping them as pets, and you can get them at the pet store, right?
Yeah, you can get them at. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I say that with regard because unfortunately there's a lot of fear in keeping spiders. So being at like the corporate pet stores or whatever, a lot of the people who would actually have to feed them or handle them or whatever, they fear them. So it's not actually necessarily the best thing for those types of stores to be carrying. I prefer Wharf Market, which is a marketplace that you can literally buy almost any critter you want to buy, including live plants and aquarium fish, all kinds of stuff. So uh, I've been using that to try to get them, but I've wild caught some of them, and I've also bought one or rescued one from a pet store. So yeah,
Yeah. What was the first? I think you said the first one you got was Gwen, and she was in your car, and you're like, "Well, let's
yeah.
try it."
She kept jumping on me,
Yeah.
and I was afraid that I was going to squish her. So I kind of was like, okay, fine, and I caught her, and then it became I was told she was a male. She is not a male. She is a she and a mated
Yeah.
she.
How do you tell the difference?
They're little things, which I'm not even sure what you call that. Because that's why I don't think of myself necessarily as a master, but I definitely love them.
Yeah.
Um, I'm learning. And it's definitely been a learning experience with Gwen because she made me a granny, a spider granny. So, about right off the jump, I thought she was in molt and come home after vacation and she had a clutch of eggs and I've been raising them and I'm doing real well with the first clutch. Unfortunately, her second clutch was only about 30 and none of them survived. So I
Yeah,
didn't do anything different. It was just, I don't know.
sometimes it's
Uh,
like that. And
Nature is
yeah,
nature. And when I was keeping bees, that's kind of how you have to look at it, that Mother Nature is going to be Mother Nature regardless of, you know,
yeah,
what you do. You can think you know everything and, nature throws you a curveball. That's what happened when I lost my bees, Um, I had
and
lost the queen to my hive and tried to replace her, and it didn't quite work out and ended up losing the entire colony. So,
yeah.
um,
Yeah, it's like that sometimes. And us being magical people, witchy people, we're very in touch with the earth and nature. And sometimes, we love the unloved things because, like, some people will be like, oh gosh, spiders, that would be, yeah, like you said, scary. And another thing, she's kept snakes and,
I've had
she's
snakes,
got
yeah.
keeping bees and, different types of animals. Is there any questions you want to ask, Pat?
Well, just, before we move on from this, because it really is a fascinating topic. And like you said, Zia, sometimes I think that people like us look deeper into what something means, right? Like the spider. And when we look into spider, its symbology is brilliant for what it does. Like, one of the things that it represents is fate and
Hmm.
destiny and this whole idea of weaving that, right?
Yes.
Through the web, the web of fate, as one of the phrases go. And also creativity. I mean, think of the creativity, right?
Hmm.
That spinning a beautiful web, and I know you're familiar with this. In fact, just a sales plug real quick, Zia does have some beautiful jewelry that actually has real spider
Oh
webs
yeah,
as
Amy
part.
got one.
Yes, I
It's
have one.
really beautiful.
She had to have one from me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had to have one
nice.
of those.
Nice. So, we're looking at that. We're looking at patience. What does it mean? Well, one of the things when she's weaving that web is the patience that it takes and the forethought, right? As she's developing this incredible structure. She is like God's architect when you
Hmm.
think about it, because she can create an entire new world in one night. So when you look, on the surface, a lot of people just are not comfortable with spiders, and yet they have such a beautiful connection to so many aspects of who we are as humans. So my question is, when did you lose your bees? When did that
I
happen?
lost those in spring, late, it was later spring of 2023. I had a lot going on. I had taken on a new job and I had had a lot of more responsibility put on me. So I won't, I don't really want to mention all that. It's kind of a very, kind of a bittersweet time because I think Zia knew that I was being pushed to my very limits with a lot of things, and especially on a metaphysical level. Um, but sometimes, we're supposed to go through tests in life,
Yeah,
uh, and it definitely taught me a lot. It taught me who my real friends was, especially here locally. Um, it taught me, trust, boundaries. Um,
yeah. Everything is
so
a lesson, I think, and
yeah.
then it also taught you about how to keep bees, and maybe you could do that in the future too.
Well, we've got a couple of comments. So, uh, Shining Star Mystic, I love them. They are so cute. She's talking about your little jumping spiders, and
Uh,
there's a lot in my yard. So,
cool.
shout out.
Um,
And one more.
yeah, when
And
we go ahead.
no, go ahead. It's Kelly Brewer. I used to know someone who bred and raised tarantulas. Plus, Lucas is doing great work for jumping spiders and regular
I
spiders.
actually have a little Lucas, the
Oh,
spider stuffed animal.
oh yeah, the character, the little
Hmm.
animated. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, if you have a lot of bugs in your yard, that just means that the ecosystem in your area is working really well, and that's a blessing and a really good thing. And we always try to advocate for the wildlife and the animals, and don't spray. We always say don't spray in your yard. The harmful chemicals, and if you can, keep the native plants and stuff so that they'll have somewhere to live and thrive.
Do what you can, but I will tell you, my yard is ate up with Japanese beetle larvae.
Really?
It is
I
just,
haven't
there's
seen
spots in
any
there.
yet.
It's gotta go. But I'm using as natural a product as I can. I'm using moldy spore instead of grub X. And moldy spore, if you use it, you have to use it like 3 times a year for several years. But when you finally saturate the ground, it will keep them away for maybe 10 to 20 years. Where if you use the chemical, the harsher chemical of grub X, then it really they come back every few years. So you're poisoning the earth, so to speak,
Hmm.
and you're not getting rid of the problem for long term. So that's something to consider too.
Um, Amy, I know me and you both collect a lot of different things, and I wanted to ask you maybe what is one of your most prized possessions like that you've collected? That's probably a hard question. I know it is for me, but yeah, if you have something there to show, you can. But yeah,
Um, well, where is it? Is the problem. Um, it's kind of hidden over here behind
well,
over. Uh, One of my most prized things is very interesting. I have zero idea where the origin is. I have my husband and I, the person that he bought it from has zero clue where it came from, its origin. It's a metal piece. It's about like this, and it's of a witch.
cool.
And it's very, very old and has like a little crystal ball.
Oh wow.
Uh, that's probably one of my most. That's why I was kind of like looking, thinking, well, is it right here at me? Because, but I think it's in my my Hecate box that I created.
Yeah, you got to
So,
keep it somewhere safe. Yeah, Amy and her husband could probably open up a museum with their oddities that they've got. And, that's one of the reasons me and her became, I think, such good friends and connected because we like to collect interesting things. And, I thought about it, and, I'm not like I said, prized possession. Possessions aren't everything in this world, and being
mm-mm,
spiritual people, it's not that important. But the reason that we do feel drawn to things and connected to things is because of the history behind it. Like maybe it was antique that somebody had and it's something interesting and unique that they don't make anymore. Simply things aren't made the way they used to be. So it's like you want to kind of collect that and preserve the history for the future. And then we always like to say too that we're curating a really cool estate sale, so when we die people will have something cool to look
oh
at and
yeah,
treasure.
my kids are either going to be very angry or very happy. Um, my daughter will probably be more so happy if she can find a maximalist husband. But I don't know. She's kind of, yeah. She's definitely kind of more of a maximalist, kind of like me. I mean,
Yeah,
I like the aesthetic of the covered walls with all kinds of art and photos and
yeah,
different things. And I have quite the collection we do. I mean, we've got things from all over the world that Seth's mother has gotten, her travels from all kinds of, Ganesh, Kali, Shiva. I mean, you name the different deity, and then he has like all kinds of masks and stuff from different countries and stuff too. So, um,
Yeah, it's very like
probably though one of the most interesting things, kind of off topic, and this is when I learned to grid my home. He had got me some ritual tattoo needles from Indonesia,
wow.
and I started having tribal dreams about, tattooing rituals.
That's so cool. Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't too happy about it because they were quite intense. Like these dreams, I'd wake up in a cold sweat. And I found out through having Reiki done that it was affecting me on a spiritual level. So I came home and I did a lot of different things to kind of help ease, because sometimes, these things carry energy when you're collecting.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that there's such things as haunted museums, and things can carry energies, and we can bring those energies into our home, and it can spiritually affect us.
Yeah.
So,
Question for the chat: have you ever had some kind of weird energies of something that you brought home? Because, like,
oh yeah,
people
oh yeah.
in the chat, leave a comment if you have had that experience. So, were you the one getting tattooed in the dreams, or were you the tattooer?
Oh yes, I was. I was the person getting
Well,
tattooed in the dreams.
Amy's heavily tattooed, so she's not afraid of being tattooed
No,
or anything.
I wasn't. But this is like the tap and poke,
Yeah.
and like the big long,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like bone
Yeah.
needle, like this long. Yeah.
That's cool though. Yeah. But
It,
yeah,
it,
I find
that's
it
quite the
interesting
collection.
too that, part of the ritual is trance, the pain itself, and
mhm.
the rhythmic tattooing. And it's amazing how they actually work with that and
Yes.
keep it rhythmic, and how they do that for the length of time that it takes for some of these beautiful, very intricate tattoos. But it becomes a state of rapture, if you will,
Yeah.
of connecting to divine energy, and they do it through the physical by making the physical, you know almost forcing the spirit from the physical through pain,
Yeah.
which I find fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Um, and so yeah, anytime y'all bring home something used or antique, especially if it has a weird vibe already, I would, do some cleanses on it, and there's different ways you can do that. But since we kind of started to talk about more paranormal stuff, let's see, what do you want to tell us about some of your paranormal adventures you've had? Pat does paranormal investigation. You do that, like, Pat, do you do paranormal investigation currently? You do, don't you?
I do, but I used to have a team and I was on a team, but now I just kind of go as a consultant if they want a psychic medium. I hate to say it, but when you're a medium and you're going to these locations, it's kind of a moot point, because one of the things we do is interact with spirits, right?
Mhm.
On the daily, and so it's not. It's something that just doesn't make sense, I guess is what I'm saying, unless there's a reason for it. And I'm often called in, by a team or by an individual to come and do, if you will, scope it out in a psychic medium type of way.
Mm-hmm. And Amy, yeah, how old were you, or what was your first ghost hunt that you had that you would consider a ghost hunt?
Um, I kind of did it a little bit on my own, but really didn't know what I was doing. And when I met Michael, and that was in 2006, it was March in 2006. So we'll get to him being brother and the meeting. So family isn't always blood,
Blood.
and that's where that connection lies. he and I obviously had different parents, and his parents was much older. He's Appalachian State alumni, but he had wrote a book called Roadside Revenants. I've read a lot of North Carolina ghost story books, and this one literally went to immediately to the top of the charts with him. But he was also a model photographer, and that's originally how I met him. And I decided to join his team. And I'm trying to think of what our team, it ended up being Camel City Spirit Seekers is what our team was.
Yeah. Wait, can I ask you a question? So Camel
yes.
City, that isn't that where they made the Camel cigarettes?
Yes, Winston-Salem, right here where I live. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's Winston-Salem, aka Camel City. So a lot of things is used in the Camel City term.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was kind of my idea. We were called the Camel City Spirit Seekers. I kind of made him retire. He didn't want to retire, but it was time. And we did a lot of private cases, and I was very wore down. I have my sensitivities. I don't necessarily feel that I'm psychic medium, but it took a wear on me. And, with his health, the way that it was declining, at that point I was just like, let's just focus on the paranormal research and us writing and so on and so forth. So that's kind of what we did.
Yeah. What was if you could quickly tell us what was like maybe the craziest experience or craziest thing you've seen when you were doing paranormal stuff? I think I remember one of the stories, but go ahead.
Well, I hate to necessarily bring this feller up, but I guess I will, because he's an infamous one for North Carolina.
Okay.
We had went out to Browder Cemetery during the day. It was an August day, 90 degrees outside. And we had gotten permission to go out there to Browder Cemetery where that mass grave the Lawson family is. And I don't think I've ever been so scared. I literally was standing at the edge of that grave site, and I felt the entire everything. Well, let's just put it this way. I was blowing breath out. That's how cold it was around me. And, I'm telling you, it's 90 degrees, sun's shining bright, in the cemetery. It's just a little EB private cemetery, off a little dirt road. And we're out there, and I literally start to see the rocks behind me displace.
Wow.
So
like somebody walking there,
and I could feel the icy breath on my neck.
Wow.
And
Amy, what kind of impressions did you get besides this idea of breath and him standing next to you? Were you seeing anything with your psychic
I could
eyes?
see his face, and his eyes was so blue and piercing that it was like it was chilling straight to my core. They were just, even though they were blue and piercing, it was like there was nothing there. Does that make sense? Like it was evil.
Yeah.
Well,
and then did it just slowly dissipate, or did you run? Or
Oh, Michael got rowdy. Michael got rowdy and was like, "Oh no, you don't."
yeah,
And that's how he was. He would stand something right down, but it really kind of left me. I hear a lot of people talk about the Madison grocery store, and I'm not knocking what they feel, but what I felt was this man's presence right there. And I mean, his body's laying there, so
Yeah.
Let me ask, Amy, did you feel though that this presence was actually human, or did you feel that it was something else that may have been emulating or mimicking this man who had passed?
I think it could have very well been him. Um, I don't know, Pat, if you're familiar with the Lawson family murders. I don't know if you are or not.
So
Uh,
It's something
what
you
you're
guys got to look
describing,
up after this if you're curious about that, and I guess crime things.
well, but what you're describing too is really interesting when you talk about those soulless eyes. It could go one of two ways. We're either looking at an entity that is mimicking, or you're looking at the person, and the person was a psychopath. You see what I'm saying?
it could very well been that he was. I mean, I hear so many different speculations. I watched the 28 Days Haunted where they went to the Madison Dry Goods and stuff. And, I'm not going to sit here and say that I put a whole lot of stock in that. I found that was an interesting take on paranormal investigating.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm not going to say that these people, I'm not discrediting them, but I feel like Hollywood has their twist on everything. Um,
Mhm.
Oh yeah, they always try to sensationalize
I know that
stuff.
that's the funeral home where, or that was the funeral home back then of where these bodies, where he had killed his entire family, and, these bodies were prepared. I'm not knocking that, I've been to that museum. I didn't necessarily, I feel that the place is haunted, but I'm not so sure it's haunted by this man's spirit. That's not what I felt. Um, or I didn't feel that threatening feeling with like I did at that event of going to that graveside.
You know,
Um,
it's
yeah.
it's funny when I deal with that kind of energy, it always seems, and I truly do believe that when you are a true psychopath that has hurt people in this lifetime, it's almost like the lights go out for you
I feel
at
I
some point.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I was going to ask you, what are the titles of the books that you co-authored with Michael?
The one that you can still get right now is Ghost of the Triad. It can be gotten on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I see it at Food Lion here locally. I see it at Walgreens. Target has it right now. Uh, they may even have it at Walmart. I've not really ever looked. And then we did another book, which is solely looking for Lydia, which is about Lydia at the underpass in Jamestown, North Carolina. Um, and unfortunately, it's not in print right now, but for future, I'm going to work on trying to get that republished.
Yeah.
Michael and I worked pretty hard on that one.
And yeah, Lydia's pretty well known as, she's a
She
hitchhiker for
got
the,
her Legends placard a couple years ago in 2023, so
yeah. And
I was
weren't you
real happy about that.
yeah,
Huh?
they had you on the news or something for that,
Yeah, I've
didn't
been on the news several times for that. I always say that that's also Michael's last kind of "I got you, sis" sort of thing, because he knew I wasn't that big on, like, especially the news. And
yeah.
no, it was a couple days after his passing. I got contacted by the news, and they're like, we're sorry for your loss, and we know, but is there any way you would do this?" And I was like, for him, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting that it was so, soon after that. Uh, uh,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
he passed October the 11th. It was spooky season. I mean,
Yeah.
we did a lot. I mean, that was our season.
Yeah. Which one is the one that you're on the cover of? She looks like a
That's
ghost.
actually Tar Heel Terrace, and that was one
Okay.
of Michael's books.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
It looks pretty cool. I like that picture. She's like see through like a ghost.
he loved making ghost pictures. He loved
Yeah.
it.
That's fun. Yeah, so yeah, he's a photographer, and yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what else do we want to talk about?
Well, what is your first experience that got you on the path? I mean, that told you as we have things that happen to us as children, but there's usually something where we go to a crossroads as an adult or an almost adult, and something happens, and it clicks for us that this is something that we want to know more about.
Like,
What
yeah, like
was your crossroads?
being just witchy in general, the spiritual aspect, or
Just
just
I
everything.
think it was always kind of there. Um,
Mhm.
yeah.
I can remember drawing symbols and stuff in the dirt. I don't know what I knew. I've seen spirits since I was a little girl, and things. Um, but I'm an earth child already. I'm a Virgo, and so I've always been extremely connected to nature. And after my losing my grandmother and great grandmother, I knew that I was, my Christian upbringing, but I wanted to know more about my Mother Earth. And I looked at my grandpa and I said, could you take me to this store downtown called Global Gallery? And he said, sure. And I went in and everything. I was maybe 13. I'm 13 probably. I got some books and some stuff, and he looked at me. He says, "That's a witchcraft shop, isn't it?" I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "Well, just be careful. That's all." And I think I bought some Scott Cunningham books, and read those, and that kind of helped me to get an understanding. And then from there, it's just after I had my children, I tried to go to church and do that sort of thing for a little while, and that's when the calling got louder. Um, I remember one of the Mormon elders asking me, "Who did I hear when I prayed?" And I said, "Well, what if I told you it wasn't a man?" And he looked at me like I was crazy. He was like, "What do you mean it's not a man?" And I said, "The person I hear isn't a man. It's never been a man." I said,
Yeah.
"And I guess that's why I know where my calling is." And that's
Right.
when I was done. And I said, "No, I'm going to focus on my spiritual side and the things that I love." And yeah,
What was that like for you? I mean, was it traumatic? Was it because when we cut ourselves off from the spiritual path that we have known up until that time, and we take an alternate route, no matter how convinced we are, we can often feel doors shutting around us, if you will, relationships that we had, people aren't willing to be as open-minded. What was that like for
well,
you, that process?
it it was interesting. I don't even know. It was a little bit traumatic, but at the same time, because I felt like such an outcast already in our church, it it was almost like freedom.
Yeah.
Wow, I finally have my freedom to study and do what I want, and I don't care for how I'm judged with it.
Mhm.
If they don't like it, then they don't like it. I've had a lot of family tell me, you're going to hell, right? And I'm like, well, if that's what you think, then okay.
I had a college president tell me that. He was
That's
my
not
boss.
surprising.
No, no, no. It happened, believe me. Zia, you kind of had a similar story to hers, didn't you? I mean, you're a traditional Appalachian, and your calling was definitely off the path that most people in the community have. Was it difficult for you to be on a different path than others around you?
Well, I was thinking about it when she was talking about it, and really, I wasn't. strictly brought up in the church like a lot of people were. My mom was always sort of more open-minded, so we didn't go to church like every Sunday or anything, and some people be like, well, that's what's wrong with you. Kind of, no,
Yeah, that was that. They told me that too.
but no, like, yeah, so I think just kind of my family not being strict and kind of being more open-minded. But I've been to church, and my grandma would take me sometimes to in the summer to vacation Bible schools when I would hang out with her and stuff. So I think it's good to sort of like see that and experience stuff like that. But it is really traumatic when you're brought up in that where it's almost cult like, and there's a lot of like fear and shame put upon people, and then they do want to go maybe a different path, and then they get scared because of that, because they've literally been traumatized. So I am thankful that I'm not like been brought up in the church from the very beginning, so I do have that kind of advantage to being more open-minded. But like I do remember one time where I was at I guess it was vacation Bible school, and they were like, put kind of like check box, yes or no, do you want to be saved tonight? And so I put yes. And then from that point, it was just like focused of people on me, like, and it was just this, I've always felt energies and stuff, and it always just felt wrong and weird in church. Like I just had picked up on the weirdest vibes of people, and yeah, it's always I was feeling like shame, guilt, fear, all these things. So, and
That was
embarrassment.
kind of me too. Yeah.
So, yeah, if you can feel other people's energies and stuff, it just don't make sense to be in that kind of setting where people
Mm-mm.
are being fearful, in a way.
And
So,
we were at that point in a big what they call vineyard church, and the reason that I think that I had chose that was because it was a non-denominational, and we got to do communion every Sunday, kind of like in Catholic church, and I had a little bit of the Catholic and Episcopal kind of and
Influence.
Orthodox influence.
Yeah.
I had a woman who she was a professor at Salem College, and I was very close to. She was married to a cousin of mine, and she was very special. And she always said that I was like a daughter to her. But her being a philosophy professor, my cousins basically said that it was her fault that I ended up becoming a witch, but it's not. I think that the cultural part of, you know, that diverse mind, it might have given a little bit of a push of it's okay to have an open mind, and not, stay in this little itty bitty box over here. And the older that I've gotten, the more I've researched even biblical stuff, and I still stand with how I feel. I probably believe more in the Gnostic side of that, than I do what is taught in the churches.
yeah.
Well, and that was determined at the Council of Nicaea,
Yeah, yes.
what books would be included, because the factions of early Christianity were going at each other as rapidly as if they would have been a totally different religion, and it was all on doctrine. So they had to determine and lock in. And don't forget, too, they were also making sure that what they did keep and what they, integrated into what we now know as the Bible, what we think of as the Bible, and that is power and how to keep it
And
in
see,
your
when I
priesthood.
look at Jesus, the Son, his disciples, 12 disciples, we have 12 months. Born of a virgin, well, that could mean he was born in September. I'm not saying that's true. Please don't come after me. But when you
Well,
look
now
at it,
I want to mention that the Magi were
th-
astrologers.
yes,
They
exactly.
tracked him by the sky.
And see, um, I have a lot of that background too. So yeah, um, that was something that was extremely interesting to me. Was Western magic, high magic, what the Magi. So I have a little bit of that teaching as well. Um, I'm not definitely no expert at it. You know, I don't necessarily, but the energy properties of it, because we're all energy, and I definitely believe in that. I believe
Well,
that they, you know, could predict things based upon what was going on in the sky
Yeah.
and everything.
and we still do.
Yeah, we still do.
That's the thing. You know, people forget that kings and presidents consult with astrologers.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
And yes, they do. And also, you know, psychics. We forget, and you know, about Abraham Lincoln and his wife. They held,
They
or
were
she did.
spiritualists.
They were
Yeah.
spiritualists, absolutely. Well, when you lost so many people around you, you wanted to know they were okay. I mean, it was
Yeah,
so
you
important to
did.
them. Hmm. Yeah. So what, so let me ask, have you ever practiced high magic, or is it just something that you're interested in and consume information about?
I have. Yes.
Yes. Was it successful?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what is your favorite type of magic, though? High magic, for those that don't know, it means a lot of sigils, it means a lot of ritual, it means a lot of rules, right? So
Yes,
it's
it's a
high
lot.
magic. Mm-hmm. So, and you
It's a
can't mess
lot.
up. Do not mess up. You know, it's a formula, and it's a formula though
I
that
had a
is
mentor. He was a Mason.
Yeah, I thought
okay.
you might bring
So,
that up.
you know, when, you know, because there's so many little, you know, but I never was actually in a formal group, and I know people. I was invited into it, but I was just like, no, that's okay. I think I'll stay over here and do my own thing. I've never really been much of a coven person. I've always been extremely more solitary anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, now don't get me wrong, I love to get together and have fellowship with others.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had ritual with others and everything. You know, definitely not as formal as the Western stuff. But as far as my favorite, I want to say it has to be our Appalachian magic. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what, you know,
Yeah.
it's there. You know, that's what has always been, you know,
Um,
it's the herbs, the candles, the, you know,
Connection to
putting your,
earth and sky.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
what I
All
said
right.
one time, not to be offensive to any males, but I was saying like the men come up with secret societies and high magic and ritual, whereas like the feminine energy, we can just do magic and just make it happen.
We are magic, Zia.
Yeah. I mean
We
that's
Well.
are.
that's what they would call like low magic was the folk magic and just
Hmm.
sympathetic magic, I guess, and the
I don't
simple stuff.
necessarily think that, I find that to be some of the higher working magic as well. I
Yeah.
mean, you look into some of the old Southern hoodoo and voodoo,
Yeah.
um, that's a lot of really strong some serious mojo going on there.
Well, I mean, these
Especially
old women and
in the old
these
women, the
males,
Appalachian. I mean,
they did some
it.
heavy. Yes, you didn't want them on you. You know, you
No, you
didn't want them
didn't.
mad at you. Yeah. What is your advice for anyone who's thinking about starting a path towards magic?
Don't go with the commercialization or the trend of it. I got into this when, let's just say, things weren't so uh,
Popular,
Trendy.
well
trendy?
popular, as well as this love and light.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
kind of trendy,
They,
good
they call
vibes
them
only.
fluffy bunnies. Yeah. Yeah.
Be ready for the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's what magic is. It's all things. It's can be the most beautiful, and it can be the most not beautiful. Um, and it just depends. And learn, you know, learn yourself. Learn yourself. I think if I could, that's my biggest thing is knowing oneself.
Yeah,
I,
That
I gotta
helps.
ask. I
and
gotta ask
everything is
this real
about.
quick because I know we're running out of time, but and this is important because one of the most popular types of magic is love, right?
Yes,
Matters of the heart. What advice do you have for those who are seeking someone, right, to bring someone closer to them? Or what's your advice for them?
don't do it.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah.
um, love is you know, I tell everybody some of the most deepest things with me has to do with love, but it's not romantic love. It's the love of my children, of my friends, my family, um, experiences. You know, yes, my husband, but my grandson, seeing him being brought into this world, the miracle of life. Uh, but when it comes to love, nobody is. Love is a free will thing, and
Mm.
it don't matter what kind of spells you cast, you're gonna get some ugliness come from it. It's
Now, if you're asking for a specific person, right? If you're just asking for
especially a
love,
specific person, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because I will tell you, my husband came to me 2 weeks after I did a spell just to bring the right person into my life. I didn't have a specific. I didn't try to overcome someone's free will. You see what
Yeah,
I'm saying? It was just divine energy. You know what I want. You know what I need, and I would like to have that person who completes me. And 2 weeks later, he was on my doorstep. Ladies and gents, magic works. It does.
It
And let me tell
does.
you,
you
when
just
it
have to
comes from
ask
the heart,
for the right. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Ladies, do y'all have anything you'd like to add tonight before we begin to wrap up?
Uh, I don't suppose. What do you want to say, Amy?
Oh, well, thank y'all both, or thank you for bringing me on. Hopefully, I haven't bored
Yeah.
everybody to death.
No, I think it was a
No,
really
you're
good
fascinating. In
episode.
fact, we'd love to have you back at some point because we
Yeah.
really haven't gotten to dig. So next time, instead of just a general interview, maybe we can have a topic that the three of us can really get
Yeah.
into about Appalachian magic or high magic. There's just so much. Now, before we go, ladies, I have, and we'll do our guests first, okay? I have these cards, and bibliomancy is something that my great granny did, and my granny did. And so they'd ask a question, and they'd open the Bible to look for the answer. And the first place that they laid their eyes was the
The
answer to their
answer.
question. So this is a type of bibliomancy, only we're just using cards. So which card do you like best? I'll show them. That's lovely. This one, this one,
I like the first one.
or
That's what
this
I
one.
was gonna say.
The first one?
Hmm.
All right. The first one is, what if your strangeness is actually your brilliance, a portal that opens to your genius? I love that.
I
And
love that.
sometimes, And I'm going to tell you, we had a private conversation yesterday, and I think that's perfect for you right now because there's so much introspection and shadow work going on with what you're doing, and you're going to burst forth again, just like that butterfly, just like the bee in the spring when it goes forth looking for that nectar, right? That's going to be you. You've been going through a dark time, but that's those clouds are just going to part for you. Now, my lovely friend, Zia. Okay,
Well,
here we go.
yeah, okay, you pick me one. Okay, let's
I
see.
like that one too. This one. Oh, I like that. I like them all actually. This one and the last one.
Let me
So
do
here
that
we
second one.
second one, this one.
Yeah. What is
All
that? A
right.
girl with a witch hat on? Let me see the
It's
picture.
actually a fae, a fairy.
Oh,
It's a fairy.
I love fairies.
Yes.
I know. You have special fairy energy. She does. My friend Zia, it's like fairy energy over there.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I've
I
had
love
people,
this.
other people say that. Justin says that actually.
You do. And I mean, I have RH negative, and supposedly I'm a Fey bloodline.
Oh wow,
I
yeah.
what is your like mine is A negative. What is yours?
Type O.
Type O negative.
Oh,
My
negative.
daughter is an O
Oh,
negative.
negative.
And then I have
Yeah.
another A negative. So, there's different star species. See all the stuff we can get into. I love this. But star species, supposedly A negative blood is from the Seven Sisters, the Pleiades.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
it's really interesting because I've always been fascinated with the Pleiades. And
Mm-hmm.
my husband has B negative blood, and he has always been fascinated by Orion. And so we find out that his bloodline is supposed to be connected with the aliens from that sector of the universe. Are these not fascinating? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
sorry, I'm not sure where O negative is, but it's definitely in the stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is for Zia. Don't don't waste time watching others live how you want. It's your turn now to dance. And our Zia, I think she always dances. I do.
She
I think
does.
that she does. And I don't think so though sometimes that she realizes how truly special she is because
Oh,
she
thank you.
is. You're like this
You
little
are.
sprite. You're
I'm
like
I'm
this little
always
fairy
so
sprite.
proud of her because of what she's accomplished. Like,
Mhm.
you know, it's every year, 10 years, 10 years, man.
This is the part that they're doing these days. Something like that. How they
What?
do a heart. I don't know. This and then
I
some.
like
I
that.
don't know
I
how the
think
kids
that's
Yeah.
say
sweet.
it. But yeah, love you guys.
Love you.
I love you. And okay, on that very high note, we're feeling the love and the big warm hug, and we're giving that energy to people that are watching us right now. Thank you for stopping by because without you, it would be a very lonely place. And I want you to know that Zia and I are going to be back. We're doing this once a month because I'm working on a project almost full time, and that's working on a documentary about Appalachian granny women. And Zia is in the hot time of the year. She does tours and she has um, like what do they call them?
The
A
escape
game
room?
room.
Yeah,
Escape
escape room.
room.
Yeah.
Escape room. She has an escape room and she has her store and she does tours. So she's up to her ears also.
Yeah.
So the next time that Pat and Zia are going to be on is October the 23rd. And of course, that is Ghostly Month. And we are going to be talking about all things ghostly. So we hope that you'll see us there and tune in at 8 o'clock on Thursday. And then on October 9th, I have a guest, Dustin. I call it Crowley because I was corrected once when I was talking about the great magician Aleister Crowley,
Yeah.
and I called it Crawley. Anyway, I think he calls himself Crawley, but Crowley, he said that
Crowley.
pretty much it's interchangeable, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Crowley. So anyway, he was a Baptist minister. He had actually went to seminary, and so he has an incredible amount of study under his belt, so to speak, about demonology and angels and the whole metaphysical realm of,
Studied
you know,
some on that.
do
Yeah.
what?
I said I
Yeah.
studied some on that. You kind
Oh,
of have to when you're in the paranormal field, though.
Yeah.
well,
I'm looking
yeah.
forward to that show too. He's
Yeah, me
probably
too.
Well, and the premise of the show is he goes from this to a vampire. You know, this whole idea of an energy
He's a
vampire.
vampire?
Yes, where he not a sanguine. A sanguine takes blood. He does
Right.
not do that. He's an energy
Energy.
vampire. Yes,
really.
Yes.
yes.
I didn't know that.
And also he just doesn't
Oh, I
willy-nilly
got a lot to
suck
fill you
people's
in on,
life.
man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he doesn't do, you know, and some do, I will tell you. And there are some energy vampires, as you all know, that you can be around and they take your energy. And they aren't even aware of it. So that's going to be October 9th, which of course is Thursday at 8 p.m.
Oh, I look
So
forward to
October,
that.
Yeah.
oh, good. Well, and don't forget, we'll be back to 23rd, Dustin on the 9th. And so we are so thrilled you were with us. We love you one and all. Thank you for being our
Thank you.
guest, Amy. You
Thank
were
you.
a
You're
delight.
welcome.
And Zeea, you're awesome as always. So until next time,
Stay
curious.
Curious.
See you guys.